A motorcyclist traveling at over 100 miles per hour eludes a police chase in Los Angeles. The suspect, initially charged with driving without a valid California license plate, was recorded traveling at over 100 miles per hour.
Overhead and 3 black and whites right on his tail as he starts to make his way over to the right lanes there. Maybe showing signs of getting onto the 105 freeway. It does look like he is taking the 105. He could take it west or east. It looks like he's hugging that west lane, and sure enough, looks like we might be heading to the airport, Mark. They have free reign up there. They can follow him very closely. As long as we stay on the perimeter here, especially if he's on the 105 freeway, we hopefully will be able to maintain a visual as well. But at these speeds, catching up is part of the problem. These motorcyclists always have the advantage because of their speeds. Sometimes those ground units, especially with any kind of traffic, have a very difficult time unless they are chippy units on those motorcyclists themselves. Then they have a better shot. But at nighttime, at these speeds, even on the freeway, can be very, very easy for these guys to get away. And he had so many opportunities to hide out and dump the vehicle, dump the bike in the downtown area. It was a little bit surprising when he came out the other side and got on the 110 freeway, but he seems to be going for it, and he is now maintaining 105 westbound. As you can see, CHP coming at him from a number of different angles, and just about a half mile up ahead here, he has created a little bit of distance between those primary units. You know, we started with about 3 units behind him. Now we've got upwards of a half a dozen trying to catch up here. So they are committed to this pursuit if he continues this continues in this direction at these speeds. I think speed is really the big concern at this point, Mark. Always a possibility, you know, without any identifiable marks on the bike, you have to wonder if they had a chance to speak to that passenger. I doubt it just from what we were able to gather, but it's a possibility that they were able to actually catch up with the passenger who he dropped off in one of the tunnels downtown. And that would potentially provide some degree of intelligence, but without that passenger, I think they are really after this guy for speed and really making them look a little bit. You know, they have been really at this guy in and out of pursuit mode for upwards of an hour, just trying to get a visual, and it's really been a game of cat and mouse. And right now, the mouse appears to be winning, and those cats, they really want this guy, I think, out of pride alone, if no other reason. Right, exactly. He's splitting lanes. He's all over the paint, and you can see him now pushing, really twisting that wrist. They're now upwards of 115 miles per hour as he tries to create even more distance. That interceptor is right on his tail, doing an excellent job of maintaining a visual, keeping a safe distance, and still able to keep up. Thankfully, as you can see from this shot of the 105 freeway, there is nobody else on this section of the 105, and that is giving California Highway Patrol a lot more leeway to close in on him, apply a little bit of pressure, hope he runs out of gas, and if he doesn't and decides to get off the freeway, this is a freeway that is going to end pretty soon, and he will have to slow down. At that point, if there's an opportunity to make a move, they may very well do so, but he's got to stop first because right now he is a flying missile down the freeway. Yeah, really making use of all those lanes. Both the suspect and the CHP unit there really taking every bit of advantage and trying to just catch up with them and really not letting up at all. I mean, it's so easy to lose this guy at this point, even with the helicopter up there. Right now, you can see they've got the night sun right on him. But if that helicopter has to go get fuel, then it's going to be up to those ground units, and they want to be close in proximity. Yeah, you just passed the Polvita. We're right next to the executive terminal there, and he's eventually going to end up on over on Dockweiler Beach here. So the freeway comes to an end in about 1 more mile, if you will, right around the midpoint along LAX. Right. Well, they just got a couple less lanes to work with here. The freeway has just pretty much ended. They're essentially on what you would consider a service road, the exit ramp here that parallels the LAX campus, and then he will be on Vista Del Mar, which is the coastal highway here, right along the west side of LAX, and you're going to see that here in just a second as he approaches the beach here in El Segundo in the El Porto area. He will have a choice to either go north or south on Vista Del Mar, but already starting to slow down here, slowing down into the 60s. He's going to come to a stop here in less than a quarter of a mile. Right now, law enforcement, both on the ground and in the air, closing in on him and maintaining a visual. That night sun lighting him up, lights and sirens blaring, no traffic along this stretch of Imperial Highway, and we'll see here in just a few more feet what he does at Vista Del Mar at Dockweiler Beach. He's got the red, going through the red, going through the red, going through it, and continuing straight towards Vista Del Mar. That was the first Pershing intersection. Now comes Vista Del Mar here in a few hundred feet, and we'll see if he's got the red light here or if he has the green. Either way, though, he's got a big decision to make, left or right, north or south. Doing the U-turn. That's right. Yep. Now eastbound, all of those units making the U-turn with him. He's got units in front of him, units behind him, and he's going to come right around that CHP unit there and continue at about 50 to 60 miles per hour on Imperial Highway, eastbound, back towards the freeway. If he decides to take the freeway, he'll get on that right lane actually over here. That'll put him back on the 105 freeway. Or he could take surface streets and hide out in Inglewood. Probably his better bet if he is starting to run out of fuel or thinking he might want to run for it. But he seems to be navigating Imperial Highway at about 75 miles per hour. So we'll see which direction he goes here. Back on the 105 freeway, and you're so right about that, Mark. This is such a petty pursuit to continue because he has so many opportunities. He has passed those opportunities. He's enjoying the joyride. It is a textbook joyride. They are just trying to catch up with him. But the problem is, even though it doesn't seem as dangerous as it was earlier, even on these empty freeways, one wrong move on his part, and he could really, really get hurt, and this could turn ugly. Even with the little traffic that there is out there, it just would be so much better. There's no reason that this should not come to a peaceful resolution tonight. Everybody could go home absolutely safe. He's had their fun. They will get their guy tonight. He'll end up back on his bike before midnight probably, and it could all be over. But right now, at these speeds, he is a real danger to himself at most, and obviously all these other cars out here unnecessarily in his range. That's right. Eastbound 105 freeway coming up on Prairie Avenue. California Highway Patrol now pulling back a little bit. He's picking up a bit of steam here as he exceeds 100 miles per hour. He had officers in front of him, officers behind him. He's got that helicopter right overhead doing a bulk of the work, calling out the location. Yep, go ahead. Yeah, just continuing eastbound here on the 105 freeway, picking up steam and leaving the work to the helicopter overhead here, who is doing yeoman's work right there with that night sun, really keeping that sun on him. I mean, really, I can't tell you, Mark, how difficult it is to operate those night suns. Obviously, these guys do it for a living, lots of practice, lots of experience, but it is not easy. It's a very cooperative effort between the flight operation, the flight tech up there, the flight tech officer, and the pilot and the pilot seat, working cohesively to keep that night sun on him. It's about 10 times harder than it is up here in Air 7, just keeping the camera on him. It's really not a very nimble gimbal like our camera. It's very jerky and it's very hard. And these guys are really keeping a motorcycle that's doing well over triple-digit speeds right in the crosshairs there, and really allowing those ground units to back off safely without risk losing the suspect. They're going to make their way through here, but with all this traffic and him picking up steam, that helicopter really is doing a lot of the work here. And it does look, by the way, as I look off the nose just past the 110 freeway mark in the next half mile, there either is a traffic break or a traffic accident that has the 105 freeway all jammed up just to the east of the 110 freeway. So he's about to encounter a whole row of brake lights in about the next 40 seconds.
Okay, well, we'll see what he does. As we pointed out earlier, if a bunch of cars are stopped, that doesn't necessarily stop him because he can split the lanes. It does stop. It would be an impediment to the pursuing officers who are in vehicles. But a motorcycle, of course, can split the lanes and just kind of get right through that. Now, if there is some other blockage that actually physically blocks all the lanes, that's a different story. It looks like he's getting off, though, here.
It looks like he is indeed getting off at the 110 freeway, and I think this is going to put him on the southbound side. That unit right there was ready for him. I don't know. Well, yeah, he just was kind of, that might have been a coincidence, or he was looking for, actually he's ending up on the northbound side, taking the northbound side of the 110 freeway. So he took that transition, got off the 105 freeway, beat all that traffic. There was a CHP unit right there at the exit at the transition, and he has now transitioned fully onto the northbound side of the 110 freeway. Again, retracing his tracks from earlier, just about 20 minutes ago. He was right here along this stretch of the 110 freeway and has now established a northbound ride straight back into downtown LA potentially.
Mm-hmm. And my understanding is, based on what we're hearing from our scanners and also observing, there might be 2 law enforcement helicopters involved with this, the LAPD and the sheriffs. Have you been able to determine that?
Yes, California Highway Patrol, and it's either sheriff or LAPD. It is sheriff. So sheriff and CHP both helping each other out here. Mm-hmm. They have one helicopter at low level, and then they have another helicopter at a much higher level, and they're really just keeping their airspace and communicating with each other and kind of taking turns and directing those officers on the ground. Obviously, one is there to relieve the other if he does have to go back for fuel. This is obviously a California Highway Patrol pursuit. They are the lead agency. That sheriff's helicopter is strictly helping out. Right now, you can see those CHP units hot on his tail again. Once again, northbound side of the 110 freeway, doing triple-digit speeds. We're going to try and catch up here. This is where it gets challenging, even for us up here in Air 7 with a cruising speed of 110 to 120. It can still be tricky to follow these guys and keep up with them. We're going to be making our way back up there now that we've got clearance from the control tower. And you can see him now hugging that #1 lane mark on the northbound side, just past 80th Street.
All right, just past. And so does this put him on a potential path to the 10 freeway? Or no, he's at Florence, so that's still up ahead quite a bit.
Halfway, yeah, halfway between the 105 and the 10 freeway. And now we'll see if he takes either the 10 freeway, which he has not taken the 10 freeway yet this evening. He took the 210, I believe, out from Covina and then into downtown LA. Maybe he was on the 10, I'm not sure. But in this part of the city, he has really been mostly on the 110 freeway. And then once he gets downtown, he's really opted for those surface streets. He was very comfortable weaving and zigzagging his way through downtown LA, streets that were completely random turns. I doubt he knew where he was going, but he was just trying to blend in with those buildings. He eventually found a tunnel, dropped off his passenger, and for whatever reason, led us back onto the freeway all the way down to Inglewood, as you mentioned, and then back out here towards the 110 freeway. So we've covered a lot of real estate, but for what reason is really anybody's guess. Again, just tells me this is a textbook joyride.
Yeah, it does seem that way because he's slowing down now, it looks like. Or maybe it's an optical illusion, but it doesn't look like he's going nearly as fast as he was. Now he's entering the double-decker portion of the 110 as it gets over toward University Park, Exposition Park, where USC is, and approaching downtown, south of downtown. But we're watching him continuing northbound with at least one agency directly behind him and two perhaps monitoring him from the air. That motorcyclist initially wanted for not having a rear plate, a vehicle code violation, but he didn't pull over, and the chase was on.
That's right, and those charges started stacking up immediately, ranging from speeding, felony evasion. We haven't seen any property damage. We haven't seen or heard of any kind of injuries. But once you get into this more congested area, and especially during the downtown part of this chase where we appear to be heading back in that direction, when he was on surface streets in downtown, he was driving very recklessly, Mark. He was going the wrong way down one-way streets with very high potential for collateral damage and at extreme speeds at that. So he was taking a lot of random turns through red lights, ending up on one-way streets, and the charges, as I mentioned, just really have started to rack up on him. So they'll be able to throw a lot at him once they finally get him in custody. Let's just hope for his sake he ends up in custody alive, because at these speeds, anything can go wrong here. He keeps looking back on his bike in the direction of those officers, and every time he takes his head and his eyes off the roadway, you just shudder to think about one wrong move.
Right. Well, here he goes now, speeding up, definitely speeding up as he gets heading toward the 4-level now, the 4-level interchange. Oh, no, that's the Santa Monica freeway. Okay, I'm a little ahead of myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is the 10
here. 10
here.
freeway first, and then the 4-level coming up as
Right.
he makes his way past downtown LA. He'll eventually hit the 4-level. At one point, he actually did take the 101 freeway, started hinting at maybe going into the valley, turned around again, got back on the 110 freeway, started to look like he was going to go up towards Pasadena, turned around again. He's been looking at different... That was earlier, by the way, when he had a passenger on the bike. Eventually, he found a tunnel, dropped off the passenger, as I've mentioned, and he's just continuing the ride of his life here, because I don't see this ending any more than one of two ways. And so let's just hope it is the most peaceful way possible as he starts to run out of fuel and will hopefully surrender peacefully regardless of what time it is. But CHP dedicating these resources, and actually I believe both of the helicopters, I understand now, are actually LA County Sheriff's deputies. So two sheriff's helicopters helping out CHP on the ground there, Mark.
Wow, and now he's back in downtown. Looks like he's getting off. I think that's the 3rd Street off-ramp. Is that, at any rate?
It's going to parallel. It could put him back. He could take one of the streets, 3rd or 4th Street, or he could end up back on the 110 freeway. It looks like he is taking the turn. onto 4th Street. Yes, taking 4th Street now into downtown, Mark. I fear this is where we're going to start to have a difficult time, because for almost an hour he was doing circles right here in the streets in this shot, and we barely even caught a glimpse of him, only because it's so congested down there. There are so many hiding spots, so many tall buildings. He was dipping in and out of parking garages looking for any place to dump the passenger. What we have not seen him do is just dump the bike and run, because that is his real, I mean, especially downtown. Just get rid of the bike, go for a walk, let everybody go to bed and go home safe. But if he continues, they will continue the chase with him. But on several occasions during the downtown portion of this chase earlier, they had to put it into surveillance mode.
Drove through parts of East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, Hollywood, Westlake, and Echo Park.
They were overmatched by
Searches have not located the motorcyclist who led the police chase through Los Angeles.
The area that he chose to try to hide from them in, and if we get more information about who this was and find out more about why they were pursuing him, we will certainly pass that along. In the meantime, that is it for us here on Eyewitness News.